sanctuary city mayors to go to Congress. I've been waiting for this moment for weeks because I've been actually okay. So the one that I've been really paying attention to is mayor of New York, mayor of Chicago, and mayor of Denver. I don't really know much about the mayor of Boston, but she was horrible. And I'm only going to give you some clips of everything, but it's awesome. And I think you should really watch it if you have the patience, because it is a 5-hour hearing. But it's incredible how corrupt these mayors are and how they're literally pretending like they're not when they know they are. It's you got to watch it. Take a look at this.
The ranking mate.
And it's the Yankees.
No
Chair.
questions for you, Mr. Howe.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Luna from Florida.
Mayor Wu, does the Boston Trust Act restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status, yes or no?
We do not collect immigration status in law enforcement.
I'd just like to point out, and Mr. Chairman, if I could enter the Boston Trust Act into the record. Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to ordered.
Thank you.
Focus, Mr.
On
Chairman.
section 4AA, a law enforcement official and employment of the city department, agency, or commission shall not, and then A, inquire of an individual on his or her immigration status. Under Title 8, U.S. Code subsection 1373 stipulates that local governments cannot prohibit or restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status, so your enforcement of this act is in direct violation of that statute. Can you please confirm?
That is not
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
truth.
That's the U.S. Code. I don't know about you, but U.S. Code does not lie.
We do not ask about
Mayor
immigration
Johnston, I'm not
status, and that
talking
is
to you
what
anymore.
makes
Next
us safe in the
question,
city.
Mayor Johnston, you said in your testimony that the first step you took after illegal aliens arrived was to provide them with housing. Is that correct, yes or no?
Folks that were on the streets freezing to death, we gave access to shelter. Yes, we did.
Thank you. Not to be rude here, but you have a good understanding of what the definition of harboring is, correct?
I do.
Okay. For those that might not, harboring means to knowingly or recklessly provide shelter or place to stay for an illegal alien. And according to Title 8 of U.S. Code subsection 1324, that is also a federal crime. Just to be clear, did you also say that you would be willing to go to jail to stop deportation efforts?
I did say that I'd be willing to stand up for all of our residents, and the context was that was the point at which the administration was threatening to deploy the U.S. military to streets of our cities to
Okay.
pull kids out of schools and churches,
Thank
so we
you.
were worried about that.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record an article from CBS.
Without objection to ordered.
Thank you. In this, it says, Johnston said earlier this week that he's willing to use civil disobedience and, if necessary, going to jail to stop deportations. My final question would be for you, Mr. Mayor Johnson. Do you believe that Chicago's welcoming city ordinance encourages illegal aliens to enter the United States, specifically into Chicago? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So you don't believe that banning the transfer of individuals into ICE custody for the purpose of civil immigration enforcement encourages illegal immigration into Chicago? Or how about agencies, sorry, one second, or agents not being able to stop, arrest, or detain individuals based solely on their immigration status or administrative warrant?
So we comply with all laws, local, state, and federal.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324, and is a federal offense. But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi.
All right, so all these mayors have an ordinance. I don't know about Eric Adams, but the other ones are open about it. They have an ordinance in their cities that they don't have to ID people that they arrest. So they don't know if these people are legal or illegal. So they don't really have any actual data of how many illegals are in their city. And at the same time, their rules for the city are like the Chicago welcoming ordinance, so they welcome everybody, okay, so including people that are not supposed to be here. So this is not going to be good for them. Because all right, so a lot of people say, oh, they're doing a good thing. And it's like, okay, not really. Because who's benefiting from this? The people that are employers who are employing illegals are only hurting the American, because instead of giving the job to the American, you're giving it to the illegal, and then you're hurting the illegal because the illegals aren't going to get the same benefits for safety and when it comes to labor as the American. So you're exploiting the illegal immigrant because, you know, they're desperate, they need money, they need to feed their family, and then at the same time you're hurting the American because the American deserves that job with the benefits. So, and then, you know, it's like, so just double standard how we're talking about, oh, you know, corporate greed, but when it comes to illegal immigration, corporate greed goes out the window, you know? Like, no, we have to help these illegals.
Of questions, if you could answer with a yes or no answer, that'd be great. First of all, do you support allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses? Just yes or no?
So the city of Chicago has been a welcoming city for over 40 years.
I'll take that as a yes. Next question.
And that's the policy that we will hold to.
Do you support tax dollars subsidizing or paying for the health care of illegal aliens?
I support investments in all residents of the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
He says the
That's a
same thing
yes
over and
as
over
well.
again, by the way.
Do you support free
Never
or
a straight
reduced
answer.
college for illegal aliens?
Again, I support the investments of all residents of the people of Chicago.
Take that as a yes. Next question. Do you support allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections?
Again, I'm not over the jurisdiction of that type of law, but again, I'm committed to investing in all residents of the people
I'll
of Chicago.
take that as a yes. I've got an article from the Chicago Sun-Times, and I'll quote here briefly. Johnson proposed, among other things, that all residents, regardless of citizenship status, be able to vote for Chicago Board of Education members. Next question. Your website states, and this is your campaign website, quote, "I will not stop fighting until abortion access is completely secure for people all over the country," end quote. Yes or no, do you support taxpayer-funded abortions for illegal aliens?
I support the reproductive rights of all people,
I'll
all
take
women.
that as a yes as well. Your mayoral transition website mentions support for creating a Chicago Board of Education non-citizen advisory board. Again, yes or no, do you support appointing non-citizens to government advisory boards?
I was invited here today to discuss welcoming
Yes
cities.
or no?
I was invited here to discuss welcoming
This
cities.
is a yes or no.
If you're
Sounds like a
interested
robot.
in asking
Yeah.
You're not
questions
gonna
about the
filibuster.
welcoming
I'll
city,
take that as a
I'm
yes.
happy to
We're
answer
gonna
those
move on.
questions.
No, we're going to move on. As you know, President Trump, unlike the previous administration, has taken serious action to bring foreign criminal gangs to justice, to take our border back and to restore public safety in our communities. He designated 8 transnational criminal organizations and cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. These are groups like Tren de Aragua, MS-13, Sinaloa, other of some of the most grotesque and ruthless and brutal organizations in the world. You, as mayor of a sanctuary city, have been virtually giving favors to illegal aliens. Apparently, you support an enormous amount of taxpayer resources going to them as well. But you yourself have also received a lot of gifts. And for those of you who don't know, Mayor Johnson has a secret gift room that is not given access to the public or for access to the Office of Inspector General. I'd like to ask you a couple questions about that. Do you know everyone who's given you a gift since you became mayor?
The city of Chicago has had a policy for
That's
40
a
years
yes or no question.
where there are individuals
This
that
guy.
I'll
like to
take-
give
no,
gifts to
I'm
the city of
reclaiming my time.
Chicago,
I'm gonna take that as
and
a
we
no.
do not accept
When
those
did
gifts.
you
We
become
receive
mayor?
them on
No, I'm
behalf
gonna reclaim my
of the
time.
city of Chicago.
We're not going to filibuster here.
Yep, filibuster, yep.
Yeah, that's all they do.
When did you become mayor?
I was elected mayor of the city of Chicago in April of 2023, and I was sworn in
That's
May
good. On
15th
June
of
12th
2023.
On June 12th, 2023, you received Hugo Boss cufflinks and a personalized Mont Blanc pin. Do you know who gave you those?
So I did not receive those personally. The city of Chicago
You received those on behalf
Right.
And that's right, on behalf of the city of Chicago,
No,
as
I
every
understand the
mayor
difference.
in the
Do you know
history of
who-
Chicago who has
Do you know who gave
provided
those
gifts
to the city of Chicago? Do you know who gave those to the city of Chicago?
So again, on behalf of the city of Chicago, there are.
It's a yes
gifts
or no
that are
question.
received,
Do
but I
you-
do not
do you-
accept, those are not
do you
my
don't-
personal
so you
gifts.
don't know.
Those are the gifts of the
On-
city of
on March
Chicago,
18th,
and that's why you are aware
2024,
that they exist, because they're
Reclaim
within
my
the law.
time here, sir. On March 18th, 2024, you received a Gucci tote bag. Do you know who gave you that? Gave the city of Chicago that?
Again, I was here and I was invited
I'll also
to
take that as
respond
a
to
no.
the
On March
questions
19th,
around
2024,
welcoming
the
city. I'm
city of
happy to
Chicago
answer any of those
received
Can't turn
questions.
down the
Gucci bag,
Gucci,
Kate
man.
Spade purse, and Carucci shoes. Do you know who gave the city of Chicago those?
Again, I was brought.
I'll
I
take
brought
that
my
as a no.
energy
I'm
here
reclaiming my time
to respond
here, sir. I am
on behalf of the
reclaiming
city
my
of Chicago
time.
of
This
what a welcoming
raises
city
serious
ordinance is.
ethical concerns. You are providing an enormous amount of aid to illegal aliens, aiding and abetting criminals who have come into our country illegally. And you yourself are receiving an enormous amount of gifts, and you won't even tell us who they're coming from. That raises
The Republicans did fantastic. Their performance here was they annihilated those mayors and the left. All they did, I recommend you guys watch it. Trust me, I have way more clips, but I can't put them all. The Democrats literally, all they did was attack Mayor Eric Adams, the New York mayor, because he's the only one that went against the whole open border thing when he got an influx of migrants and that he had never had that experience before, and he was mayor for the first time, and he handled it very well, even though he was getting a lot of backlash for like debit cards and allowing them to be at the Roosevelt Hotel, which I don't think Roosevelt would mind. His hotel being filled with migrants. Anyway, all they focused on was Eric Adams, and then they didn't even touch the other mayors. They were just talking about how great they were. It's like, bro, this guy just filibustered the entire time we're talking about. So let's look at this last one, because this one's spot on.
Conversation. So, Denver Mayor Johnston. I'm a Colorado native, grew up in and around the Denver metro area, also Latino, grandson of an immigrant from Mexico, and I also served for 12 years in the U.S. Army, Colorado Army National Guard, and in the Denver metro area for another 10 years as a police officer. And unfortunately, as a Denver metro area police officer, I've seen firsthand how public safety in Colorado and in Denver is plummeting. When I started my law enforcement career, Colorado was ranked 31st in the nation for our crime rate. We were ranked 3rd in the nation last year. Denver, 6 years ago in 2019, they didn't even make the top 50 most dangerous dangerous cities in the country list. This year in 2024-2025, U.S. News and World Report ranks Denver as the 10th most dangerous city in the country. Wow. Denver has twice the homicide rate as San Francisco. We've lost more than 7,000 Coloradans to illegal drug overdose deaths since 2020, with a significant percentage of that coming from illegal drugs like fentanyl. And we know from criminal intelligence that in the Denver, Colorado area, almost all of that fentanyl is being trafficked by illegal transnational criminal organizations, the Jalisco Cartel and the Sinaloa Cartel. We've seen a massive increase. This is just a recent headline. We've seen an increase in Tusi, which is the drug of choice of Tren de Aragua in the Denver metro area. And we've seen headlines that show that overdose deaths in the Denver metro area remain stubbornly flat despite falling in pretty much everywhere around the country. In terms of violent crimes, Denver's had over 6,400 violent crimes, so that's including things like 689 sexual assaults, over 1,200 robberies, over 4,400 aggravated assaults, and again, depending on which database you look at, anywhere from 65 to 71 homicides. Again, double the homicide rate of San Francisco. So the first question to you is, for those homicides, do you know how many of those were committed by people illegally present in the country?
Thank you, Congressman, and happy to answer that because I think you may have some bad facts. I'm happy to clarify.
Bad
it for you.
facts.
In terms of what's happening in Denver right now, as we know, crime is down in Denver from last year to this year.
Reclaiming my time, Meyer. Do you know?
Why do you want to answer the question you phrased?
Reclaiming my time. Do you know how many of those 65 to 71 homicides were committed by people illegally present in the country? And I'm happy to show all of the sources for my facts.
We don't ask anyone's status at point of arrest. We do not know someone's status and when they're charged.
Thank
When we
you.
arrest
Thank you
them,
for the
we
answer,
prosecute.
Mr. Mayor. And I'm glad you've brought that up because as you can see displayed here, we actually have a training bulletin to the Denver Police Department dated January of this year, which pretty much says what you just said, which is that Denver Police Department is prohibited from asking for any information about the national origin, immigration, or citizenship status of any individual. And that's a problem because of the second item that we're going to display here, which is the standard FBI fingerprint card, something that I filled out for over a decade when I was a police officer, which has those items as mandatory fields, location of birth and then the citizenship. And so I've heard, being a cop in the Denver metro area, that police officers in Denver are being told not to fill out those mandatory fields in the FBI fingerprint card, which could potentially indicate why you're unsure of how many of these crimes are being committed by illegal immigrants in your city. So the second question is, will you allow Denver police officers to fill out all of the information on an FBI fingerprint card, to including asking for and recording the citizenship status?
Thank you, Congressman. Right now, under city ordinance, we do not ask someone's status at point of contact, and that does not prejudice in any way our prosecution. We believe it doesn't matter where someone's from,
Thank you,
what
Mr.
crime
Mayor.
they've committed.
So
We're
you're
gonna
not
charge them aggressively regardless.
so you're not filling out the FBI fingerprint card as required?
Right now, we are filling out information when folks arrive, and none of that information prevents us from prosecuting them to the full extent of the law, which is what we do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So not filling out the FBI fingerprint card, which would directly contradict your statement that you want people who are illegally present in the country and committing crimes to be held to account for those crimes. And I think that the statistics that we've gone through in the space of crime show why Denver is specifically cratering in their public safety statistics as compared to major cities around the
That's
country.
just actually false.
I can show you my statistics. And as a police officer, I am here to make sure that we are uplifting the voices of the victims of these crimes who are being taken advantage of in communities that provide sanctuary to dangerous illegal criminal gangs like Tren de Aragua, which your jail released just last week. We talked about somebody back into the community. We must take care of our victims. I brought legislation, the Uplift Act, to focus on this. We're here to protect the victims. And Mayor, I would ask you to join me in that.
We've already done that.
You'll
and we'll
back.
keep doing it.
So they passed that law, the Laken Riley Act. Congress passed that law recently, pretty much making it known to the entire country. Hey, if you have illegals in your states or in your cities, and they've committed a crime, then they need to be arrested and then deported. And these sanctuary cities, because they don't use the actual proper procedure to know whether these people are illegal, then they don't have to actually follow the Laken Riley Act. They don't have to follow it because in their ordinances, they don't have to identify the citizenship of the criminal. They don't care. Oh, you're a criminal? We don't care where you came from, though. You're a criminal, and that's good enough for us. Like, no, because then we don't know whether this criminal is illegal or illegal. If they're illegal, then there's another process, and we have to deport them to Guantanamo Bay or back to their origin country. But if there's no identification, how the hell are you going to know whether they're supposed to be here or not? And then you're literally, again, taxpayers are funding illegals to be in our prisons when they're not even supposed to be here.